So our first step is that we need to download the Java Development Kit, or JDK. Now we need some version of it. It is what the JDK is that it's a piece of software that basically allows your computer to understand any Java code you write and translate it into these commands that your computer can actually use. Now, there's a lot of ways you can go about obtaining it. There's lots of different versions because it's just a piece of software. People can package it up and take that language and say, here's my program that translates that language. Oracle, the company that currently owns Java, they provide their own, but because of the Oracle and Google lawsuit and some views that Oracle has over what they're entitled to and the licensing agreements that they have with this, I much prefer to use an open source version. And it's a lot easier to install, in my opinion. It used to be a bit of a headache to install. And you can take a look at those previous videos that I have for posterity. But this is a lot easier. So all you have to do is just go to adoptopenjdk.net and just click here to get on the default options. And what this will do is that this will take Java version 11. That's perfectly fine. You don't need the latest. And then the Java Virtual Machine, which is the Java Virtual Computer that's going to be running on your computer. If that doesn't make sense, don't worry about it. Basically, it's just kind of the language and the software, which version of the software. And you can click on this, and it should identify your operating system automatically. Here, it's identifying me as Windows. If for some reason it doesn't identify you automatically, here you can click other platforms, and you can see here that it works for Mac OS, and so it's perfectly fine. I went ahead and already downloaded it, but I haven't installed it. It's just sitting right here on my desktop. You can download it wherever, but just save time, and I'll go ahead and run it now. So I'll hit next, accept. It's open source code, which is great. So add to path, which just simply means we'll be able to test it using the command line, which is this thing that makes you look really competent at using your computer. Associate to jar, and I think that's sufficient. I'll hit install, and it's installing. I'm going to go ahead and close my terminal because now that I've added this to path, I have to restart my terminal to basically test if it's installed. So I open up my terminal to test if it's installed. I'll just go Java, and ooh, look at that. It says it's coming out with all these commands, and it says, hey, you can use Java. Okay, I'll go ahead and ask your version. Java --version.